We'll do it live.
Do it.
We're on the
Do
air.
it.
I hope I fucked up the sound with that. Do her.
Yeah,
You're good.
hopefully people watch, I guess.
What?
What?
What the fuck is up,
Who's
Kyle?
Whose dad is this?
Is this my dog?
Yeah. Ooh,
You know what time it is. Welcome back, everybody. You're here with Brandon and Kyle on.
Belial.
You're here with Blyle on the internet's best podcast, formerly known as, and also formally known as, Pancreas Amplititis, where we talk only about medical things.
Yeah.
This is a medical podcast. If you haven't caught that from the first season, welcome back.
Welcome. Yeah, today, I mean, it's been a while since we had one of these. A lot has kind of happened. There's been a lot of snow. We set a record in Minnesota. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, fucking record.
The most snow for February.
Yeah, come at us, New York or Michigan, you fucking bitch, Wisconsin.
Dude, Upper Michigan gets crazy amounts of
They
snow.
do.
Like hundreds of inches.
You know they call them the Upers.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did know that
Do
actually.
you know why?
Because they're the upper part. Ubers.
Peninsular.
Yeah. The
Why wouldn't
the
they?
downstairs boys are called trolls.
Yeah,
Did you know that?
actually.
Yeah, they call them trolls.
Oh damn,
Are you a troll or an Uber?
a Uper.
A Uber, whatever.
Why did they say it with a Y?
Because they're stupid.
Yeah. And they don't even recognize their own species. That's how fucking dumb they are.
Uber.
Oh yeah, you a troll boy?
Yoop.
They don't even recognize other humans. Yeah, you fucking troll.
Yeah,
What
there's,
kind of being are you?
there's stars Yoop there.
You. Can you guys see it?
Yeah. Can you see these?
ACDs?
I played in a Rocky League tournament at Mystery Lake Casino since last time.
Mr. Lake?
Mystery Lake, Mistake.
Mis-
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty fun. It's my first serious esports tournament. It's cool.
That's exciting.
There's a lot of sweaty people in the world
I
that
hadn't
come
know.
out for that kind of stuff.
I had one of those a couple years ago.
Let's talk about it. Tell me about it.
No, that's old new.
No, it's not.
That's old new.
Let's just talk about competition because competition's weird, man. There's so many crazy things.
Yeah.
Tell your Rocky League story and then I'll tell mine, and then we can talk about other crazy.
No. You were going first. You go.
Mine isn't that cool.
Don't let me interrupt you. Neither is mine.
I'm super try hard in Rocky League currently, and this tournament was coming up.
Would you call yourself a sweater?
Yeah, I kind of everything I'm passionate about I get really sweaty with, but I wanted to do the Rocket League tournament last year, but I didn't feel like I was good enough. And then I got to Champ 2, so I felt better, and I found some people on Reddit by posting something like, "Hey guys, looking for
Seeking
pros."
for young white males.
Yeah, 18 plus sweaty.
Only hairless boys. Over 18.
But I found two dudes on Reddit and we played together for a month and a half, and we'd never met each other before that. And then we
Yeah.
met there, and
How was it meeting them?
it was fun. I was late,
Oh fuck.
and then they were pretty cool about it. And then yeah, we
Did you were you late for your first match?
not
Or
really.
just
No,
registration?
everything started late for everyone, kind of. So I was kind of on time, but they were there an hour before me. So
Damn, dude, they are sweaty.
yeah, they are sweaty. It was fun.
Who's the best
Shout
one
out
on the team?
to Papa, and definitely me, dude. I'm a god.
Yeah,
No, I don't know. Everyone has their own strengths and stuff. Probably Papa though.
Pappy.
He's
Do you think if he had better teammates, the outcome would have been different?
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No, probably not. So in Rocky League, there's a ranking system. It goes bronze, silver,
J-Pop,
gold.
Jay-Z, Tupac, and Biggie.
Yeah,
Andre from Outkast.
yeah. It's bronze, silver, gold, diamonds, champion, grand champion, and in between,
Betwixt.
there's a bronze 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you go to silver 1, 2, 3, 4. There's divisions, and you gotta win so many games to go up a division. It takes forever to rank up, but I think Champ 2 and above is there's 2 or 3% of the population, and
Yeah.
Grand Champ is 0.5.
Last
Maybe
time I
less.
checked, it was 0.0 something.
Maybe it's less than 1%, but it's crazy. And at this tournament, like I thought I'd be good. I'm like, there can't be that many good players in Minnesota. But people came in from like Chicago and Detroit and shit for this tournament. And
Yeah.
uh,
Those are some sweat bullets.
yeah, we had a super tough bracket for some reason. Like we had one awful team and then a bunch of really sweaty teams. So
That's weird.
yeah, we did pretty well. And one of the teams we stomped on was from we played against and we made it to the second round because we went 6-5 the first round. And then in the second round, I think we went 4-4, but I don't know exactly how it worked, but we were playing teams outside of our division the second time, and we beat this team like we just stomped on them. It's 2 out of 3 every time. We
Yeah.
stomped on them 2 games in a row. They scored once on us, I think.
Damn. Shutdown. They call that shutdown defense.
At least I think that's how it played out. I could be wrong, but the team that we stomped on ended up getting 4th place in the tournament, and we got 8th out of 32.
Damn.
Because our like, a couple of the teams we went against were like, I mean, a couple of teams we beat in overtime, so like we beat them in the would be 5th game.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, we beat a couple of teams in overtime that were like better records than us, and I don't know. It was a good time. We got 8th out of 32. We beat the 4th place team twice. There's a lot of sweaters. The guys who won, like there was an ESL monthly league champion.
The fuck does that mean?
ESL's like, have you heard of ESL?
Yeah.
So it's basically like this tournament for like basically all grand champs, and it's every week.
What does it stand for?
Every week on the
The Electronic Sports League?
Elite or esports something. I don't know exactly what it stands for. I forgot. But it's like super sweaty, try hard, all grand champions. Like the guys who win this usually go on to like bigger tournaments, like
Yeah.
amateur pro and like professional and stuff.
Pro-Am.
It's super hard to get, and one of the guys that was there had it, and he might like go to the next level. But those guys didn't lose a single game. They kind of shit on everyone.
Damn.
hmm
That's some fucking talent.
We didn't even get to play them, so I don't know. We might have beat them. You never know. They're in a different division, but yeah, it was fun. There's a lot of people there. A lot of people watching other games and stuff. It's cool. It's cool to go and hang out with a bunch of people excited about something and whatever.
A bunch of people who don't shower very often.
Yeah. The League of Legends kids were insane. There's a lot more money.
Yeah.
Like it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like a live event. So League of Legends is like a real-time strategy game. So basically you just, well, it's
Like
not
chess.
exactly. There's like, what is there, 3 towers? 6 towers.
Yeah. So the premise of the game is you've got 5 players on each team, all playing and controlling a champion, which have varying abilities. There's like 130 or 140 fucking champions in this game now. And you have lanes, right? There's 3 lanes, and then in each lane there's towers, which act as a defense mechanism against minions. Minions are non-playable characters. They're just automatically spawned on each side, and they just run down the fucking lane. The objective of the game is to destroy the towers and then get to your opponent's nexus and do enough damage.
Nexus.
Yeah, Nexus Olsen. Do enough damage to the nexus, and then once you kill the nexus, you win the game. So you're attacking the opponent's minions, and then you by yourself can't be in range of a tower or it will hurt you. So you have to use your minions to absorb the tower hits and then kill the towers, and then make it all the way down your lane to the nexus. There's a mid laner, a top laner, and then there's usually 2 people in the bottom lane, and then there's 1 person in the jungle. And the jungle is the area in between the lanes, and it's got monsters in it, and you kill the monsters to gain gold. And each game, you gain gold from killing shit, and then once you get gold, you buy stuff and you power up. And once you buy all that stuff, when the game's over, it resets and you restart your build every fucking game.
Yeah, you basically you try and knock down your opponent's towers, all the way to open up a Nexus and then just kill that.
There's so much fucking going on in that game that like every game is unique. Like there's a lot of stuff that's repetitive, but like you can change your build up every time, and you can change your build order up every time. And there's so many combinations in that game. It's fucking insane.
It's insanely popular. It's been like one of the top 3 games for like the last 10 years, I feel like.
A big part of that is that it's free to download and play. You don't have to pay anything to play the game, so anybody can play it.
You can go to college for League of Legends. You can get a degree in that. There's so much money. It's stupid, but there's a bunch of people excited about it at the Mystic Lake Casino stuff. Like that was definitely the most popular game. There was like college teams and stuff there, and super sweaty. But the team who actually won, or maybe the team who got like who made it to the last game, one of the teams like were literally fucking shouting commands the entire every game they played, like
real
top
loud.
of their lung. Like I was like, what the fuck is this?
What?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like kitty cornered to them playing Rocket League in my like placements and shit to like get through our
Round
our
robin.
grind, our round robin stuff. And they're playing like the championship or semi-championship, whatever the fuck. And they're like screaming, like, what the fuck is happening behind me, dude? It's the most ridiculous thing ever. They're like, man. And they would yell the same fucking thing until whatever action they're trying to accomplish was accomplished, dude. Yeah, dude, like huffing and puffing and
That's
shit.
fucking
It was out of this
silly.
world. I wish I would have recorded it because it was fucking surreal. Like,
They were wearing headphones, right?
yeah, right next to each other.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's like headphones don't really work that well, so they counteract it. That's probably why they were yelling extra loud, but it was ridiculous. It was
Oh
like
my fucking God. That's so annoying.
if you had no context and you were just
Oh.
videotaping somebody doing
That'd
that,
be
should have been
so
funny.
You should have been and put it on YouTube.
I was playing, otherwise it probably would
The
have.
problem is that like half the people on YouTube, more than half the people on YouTube understand that shit. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of crossover. But yeah, put it on Facebook or something. People go wild.
Commands are super important, but I like can't do that. I can't just keep yelling shit.
Yeah.
It feels wrong. I feel like if you have to sweat that hard, like there's no natural talent.
Yeah.
Maybe there is, but I feel like it should be more natural than that.
Right. And it becomes work at that point. Like you're not even having any fucking fun.
Nothing against the grind, but like I play video games because they're fun.
Yeah. I play video games to relax, dog. I play League of Legends and it's one of the most toxic communities and it's not good. And I get real fucking mad when I play video games. Madder than I should.
I don't think. I guess I haven't played enough. I don't think it's that. For all the games I've played, I feel like
People are very, very quick to yell at people who are new and don't know what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
very elitist and not nice.
dude, I played
What the fuck are you doing?
one game of Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the fuck I was playing. It was like Search and Destroy or something, whatever that mode is called in
That is
Counter-Strike.
Counter Strike.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, that is it.
Isn't the mode called something else?
I don't fucking know.
It's where you buy your guns and then you like
Yeah,
go shoot and
gun
stuff.
game.
Yeah, it's gun game. That's what it's called.
Gundam.
Yeah,
Big O.
domination, but
World War.
execution.
Ground War.
But anyways, like I played the one game. The games are too long for me to actually play it because it's like
15 rounds.
yeah, some bullshit like that. But
That's a fucking.
there was this kid he had some name that was like Brazil or some shit, and he had like the Brazilian flag as his picture.
Yeah.
His name was like Brazil King, like 697 or some stupid shit
Yeah.
like that.
69420.
And he had this like super annoying like super subtle feedback, like this high pitched whining sound the whole time, and he like was super laggy and insane ping, so he was just like stuttering around and like running into walls and shit.
No.
And everyone was just like
Ripping him.
dropping like the most racial shit I've ever heard in my life. And it was like they were like dropping N-bombs and shit, and the dude was like from Brazil, so it just didn't make any
Yeah.
sense. It was just next level toxic.
Fuck, man.
They were calling him a Brazilian N-bomb or something.
Yikes. You can't even
That's
say
the
that.
first time I've heard that word in a game in a long time. Maybe ever.
Yeah.
Like hateful. Like the thing is Counter-Strike, it wasn't chat, dude. There was like 4 dudes just being like super toxic verbally. I feel like most games where you have microphones, people aren't that toxic verbally. They're not dropping shit like that.
Not anymore. It used to be that way.
Not as bad as what I experienced in Counter Strike. Maybe that was like a one-off because I played one game. It was like awful.
Soleil got banned for a month recently. Was it 2 weeks? I don't know. It was a lot of time in League of Legends.
For what?
For saying some shit.
That sucks.
I don't know what it was, but
That's the pro who came on our second episode.
yeah. So check out our second episode.
Aliens.
Feet Soleil. He was playing on your account when he got banned.
So you get my account?
No. He got banned on his account and then was playing on your account. Yeah.
Of course.
That game's real fucking tilting.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't like.
Dude,
that-
fuck that. 45 minutes a game.
Seriously.
I
and
could
then,
play
like,
7 Rocket League games.
Yeah, I'm so fucking bad at that game. I just get real mad. And that and Gears of War are the worst for me, I think. So fucking tilting and angering. I rarely get that mad playing Rocket League anymore. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I was always
That's a fucking fat rip, bud.
medium mad with Gears because I was pretty good, so I didn't really. I would probably get like 2 or 3 kills, and if I picked up the sniper, it'd be like 3 or 4 before I die. I think I actually had like
100.
I think I had like a 6.0 KD or 7.0 KD with long shot in Gears 3.
Yeah.
It's long shot. It's fucking easy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I think my overall is actually shitty. It's like 1.9.
Yeah, because you're a bad kid.
Yeah.
Bad kid.
Because I would always do fancy wall bounces and I could just pop over cover.
Yeah, my tournament experience was interesting, more so for just the whole journey, because Justin Schuch, which I keep telling him to come on podcasts, and he won't listen to me because he's an adult and owns a house now, fucking big baller boy.
B.
Him and me signed up for the podcast, the tournament. I signed him up for the podcast. You're coming on next week. Just kidding. Next week, give you a little teaser. Next week we got your boy Yahoo Hey coming on
Hey.
the podcast. He's gonna talk about some things
Yeah.
and stuff.
Stay tuned.
Good old friend, funny boy. We laugh. We have a laugh.
Yeah, dude's awesome.
Me and him have laughed before together.
That's good.
No, so we signed up for this tournament in Madison. Shook talks me into it, and we leave at like fucking 5 o'clock in the morning because the shit starts at like 10 in the morning, and it's a 4-hour drive, and it's real shitty, like snowstorm. It was real bad that weekend. We waited till the next day because it was less shitty, which probably I wish we could have driven the night before and stayed in a hotel because getting up that early and then spending 6 hours on the fucking road is a terrible idea. But we stopped in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, because somebody he worked with was remotely was selling some monitors, some nice gaming monitors. So we stopped at that guy's place and picked up some monitors that we were going to use at the tournament, which is super funny. And
Do you still have the monitors?
oh yeah, still use it.
Is it 144
Here you
hertz?
did.
Good.
Uh-huh.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, we got there, we were setting up, we had plenty of time and shit, and we didn't really know how the tournament was structured. Like, the first part is open stage, so it's round robin, and we thought that was like a single elimination shit, so we were fucking going hard, and we did really well in round robin, and then we realized, oh, that was just placements.
That's what we did too.
Yeah, so then we sat around for a bit, and then actually started playing and didn't do so hot, but there was a guy that was ranked, like, 123rd in the world or some shit. His name's Pluto. He was there. He was really fucking good.
He made it to RLCS.
He did. That's the championship series. That's the big boy one. That's the biggin.
Yeah, like basically like the top 30 people in the world.
Is that?
Is there 12 teams of 3?
Yeah, that's
36.
36. Yeah,
Okay.
fucking wild. So
Pretty crazy.
he obviously got better from when he shitted on us, but I can't remember what we placed. We had fun. It was a long drive. Definitely would probably not drive that far again unless I knew I had a real good chance of winning or practiced a bunch, which I don't know if I'll ever find enough time to do that. But afterwards, we stopped at an A&W and got our food. We drove through, got our food, and then sat in the parking lot and ate it. And me and the two Justins were laughing real fucking hard about something. I can't even remember what it was, but I went inside to take a piss and get somebody a napkin, and there's a guy standing in the urinal. He was standing in the urinal, but he was pissing in the urinal next to me. And I thought of whatever it was that we were laughing in the car, and I just started bursting out fucking laughing, standing right next to this guy. And he was an employee at the A&W, and I thought to myself, ooh, this is probably a bad idea if I walk out there and get a napkin, because he probably thinks I'm laughing at him, so I'm just going to run back to the fucking car. Yeah. And then we drove back and got back at fucking... It didn't get over till like 8 at night, but we got eliminated relatively early, so we left at like 5. I got back at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and I was supposed to move out that weekend from Zimmy's house, but that wasn't actually going to happen. And Kelly was
Shit, it wasn't even that long ago.
Kelly was fucking pissed.
Oh my god, hold on. Okay, keep telling your story.
No, that was 2 years ago. So that was like, from that point, still didn't move out.
Dude, you gotta tell that story today.
Oh,
like
God.
the whole thing. It's so fucking
long.
crazy, dude.
Oh my
It's
god.
so crazy. We'll come back. We'll
Maybe.
tell your dad that.
I didn't tell him that.
We're
So
gonna tell him today.
I got back and then was like being real quiet because I didn't want to have to face that shit because it wasn't my fault. Like Zimmy was supposed to have my back, but he was making me be the fall guy for it. And I like set my shit down and got into my bathroom. And then I was getting ready for bed, and she came and knocked on the door and was like, "We need to talk about you moving out this weekend." And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm just shitting." And so then I shitted for like 20 minutes, which isn't out of the norm, but I was definitely just trying to avoid that situation for the time being. There's a lot of avoidance going on. And then I eventually finished up after she came back a couple times and was real pissed that I was taking so long. And then I opened the door while I was like brushing my teeth or some shit, and she proceeded to berate me and yell at me about how I was a terrible fucking friend for moving in and letting my friend let me stay there for 2 years, and I was being a real piece of shit about not moving out, and kept saying that I was gonna leave, and I never did, and made good on my claims to leave. And was just like verbally assaulting me for a good 5 minutes.
In hindsight, though, you gotta like look at it from her point of view.
No, for sure, I get it.
She probably legit thought you were a piece of shit based on what he was telling her.
100%. And that's on him. And I was just standing there taking it because, like, what am I supposed to say? Oh yeah, actually, I'm not ever leaving because the owner of the house told me I didn't have to. Like, I'm trying to help my friend, but he's kind of just let me fucking take it, right? And then she's just yelling at me, and I'm just standing there like, I don't know, man. Throwing some real fucking hardball questions at me, and I'm like, yep.
All right, let's go. Tell a blunt version of the story from the beginning, so we can catch up to this point.
However
blunt you want to be, just so you don't have to like stress
The
yourself
whole-
out.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah. But eventually, at that point in time, during that altercation, he eventually stepped in and was like, raised his voice and was like, "Let's go to bed." And I was like, "Thank God," because what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, I kept lying and saying that I was gonna move out, and I just at that point was fucking fed up because I had said so many times, and like, I don't have a good reason, and I hate making excuses. So This is where we're at now. So anyway, Kelly, I'm sorry if you see this. Zimmy, sorry if you see this for separate reasons. But I have a podcast now. I got to talk about interesting stuff. Really, the whole moral of the story is that
Don't make friends.
don't make friends. Don't move in with your boss. It's nobody's fault really, except probably Zimmy's. There's definitely, people on both sides that were at fault. But our boss at the time was having trouble waking up for work on time, and my lease was coming up, so I saw it as a perfect opportunity to get 2 birds stoned at once. And I said, hey, I'm gonna move in with you because your house is super dope and like we both like video games and are super chill. It's gonna be great. He had talked about previously how his girlfriend at the time, Kelly, when they initially looked for the house together and moved in, things weren't going so hot. So while she was out of town at a relative's funeral on the East Coast, he moved all of her stuff out of the house onto the her parents' lawn, and
Not again.
not a good thing to do. But he had like alluded to that when we very first started working together, and I didn't know him any better. But I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna move in with you. Great, this is gonna be awesome. Totally fucking cool. Agreed on stuff. Again, we're both super chill, so it was, had the makings of being a real awesome roommate situation. So I get the Legases to come help me. You saw Legas on season 2 pilot, Swinging Dick, big boy. Or was that season 1 finale? No, that's season 2 pilot.
2 pilot.
Jesus Christ. Pilot, season 2, pilot. Him and his wife got a truck and helped me move, and my mom came up and moved all my shit, and like we get there with the first load and open the door, and she's there, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect you to.
Did you know her before that?
No, I don't think I had ever met her.
So did it like click that it was Kelly?
I mean, I figured that's who it probably was. I was like, who the fuck else would this be?
Ex-girlfriend.
We had several parties at his house before I moved in, and I'd never met her. And yeah, she was there. I don't know why. And like we're walking stuff in, and she's like, "Yeah, so how long are you gonna be here?" And I was like, "Oh,
From the beginning?
yeah, instant. Like first 30 seconds, probably. Within the first few minutes, she's like, "Yeah, how long are you gonna be here? Like, how long are you staying at this house?" And from that point, that should have been the first time, right? That should have been, oh fuck, let me go find a different apartment to live in.
Yeah, so...
But I was like, I just thought it was gonna be cool. Like, no big deal. And I can't remember if he had talked to me about this to like preface me. There was no end date at all. The plan was just like, yeah, move in, it'll be cool. And then she's like, how long are you planning to stay here? And then I put together, oh, he probably told her that I'm just crashing here for a few months. And I was like, oh yeah, it's probably just like, I don't know. And she's just like, yeah, it's like a few months, right? I'm like, yeah, sure, okay, cool. So that was off to a good start, but
Oh, man.
his bedroom was up on the top floor, and so I moved my bedroom up there as well, and then we're gonna have our computers and stuff down in the basement. Actually, no, his band room is in the basement, and the room that I put my computer stuff in, and you know, it was fine. She slowly started to be there more often, and then shortly after I moved back in, she was pretty much there full time as well. For pretty much the entire, it was about 3 years that I was there, and for almost all of it, she was like living there, which wasn't disclosed to me up front, but I was like, oh, this will be fine. And it eventually, she was like, towards the beginning, she was like, when do I get to move back in from the incident where he moved all her stuff out of the house? And he said to her, as soon as Kyle leaves, which again is probably not a good sign. But he's like, no man, it's okay, you don't ever have to move out, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah.
Okay.
Cheapish rent, nice house, not too far from work, this is fine, yeah, it's great. And there were, like, we got along well enough, but there were several instances along the way that, like, there was kind of some hostility, and, like, I never really felt settled in. I never, like, used the dishwasher or anything, because I felt, like, I don't know, out of place, and I didn't want... It was not super welcoming, the environment, for sure.
It's not safe.
Yeah, I, like... didn't take up too much room, but I could definitely tell that the room that I was taking up was not liked very much. And eventually, I don't like how it kind of seems gradual how it got to this point, but eventually it was like, okay, we need to talk about when you're gonna move out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. Here's the time that I'm going to move out. And I think Zimmy talked to me about it beforehand to prep me, and he's like, just say this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So we set a date, and then it came and nothing happened, and I didn't leave. And then I was like, okay, well, what the hell, man? When are you going to move out? And it was like that for like a year. Like, when are you going to move out? And then we'd set a date and nothing would happen. And then they'd both be like, either together or separately, be like, do you need help looking for a place? Like, do you not have a place? Is that the problem? Do you know, like, what can we do to help you? And I was just like, oh yeah, no, I was going to get a place with you. I roped you into this. So I was like, I was going to get a place with Hammy. We were going to, but Hammy couldn't do it. It fell through. So
Were we actually gonna replace?
I don't fucking know. Probably not. That was never the plan. Like, but after so much of this, I'm like, dude, do you need me to fucking move out? Not like any hard feelings. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
One way or another. But for the sake of your relationship, do you need me to leave? And he's like, no, man, it's totally fine. Everything's cool. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. I don't care. Like, you're tidy. You're clean. I don't give a shit. Stay here forever. I'd rather. Okay, that's fine. Our live stream just crashed, and by that I mean
crashed.
the phone fell down. Okay.
Dan? Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh no, it froze.
Uh-oh.
Okay, well,
It's a good angle.
good ankle. Oh, I know what I did. I turned the camera around. My rear-facing camera doesn't work. There we go. Now we're back. See, it was that easy. What was I saying?
Hey man, do I have to?
Oh yeah, do I
I'll
need to
move out if you need me to.
Like, no hard feelings. I don't give a shit either way. And he was like, nah, stay. I'd rather like you stay and then she'll leave. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I mean, I think it would be much more enjoyable for me. I feel very not welcome here, but again, I'm fine with putting up with that. And if you're telling me your end goal is to get her to leave, like, that's fine. Like, he's a double agent, right? He's just like, in secret with us two, here's the deal. But I'm gonna tell my girlfriend this, which again, terrible situation, but
What do you think the psychology is behind putting yourself in a situation like that?
with me,
Like, what is the logic of like putting yourself in between two people in the same home?
well,
Is it to avoid confrontation? Or
Yeah,
because
that's
you like
part of it.
both? Or
I think
there's got to be a little bit of truth on both sides, right?
for sure, and I think it boils down to just the fact that like he had intentions, and one person turned out to be much more stubborn and resilient, and then eventually he got himself into some trouble, got his license taken away, had both of his arms broken at the same time, and like was reliant on her,
Fuck, dude.
which again I don't know. Even without
Did she
that,
break his arms?
no.
Okay.
No, he one was in a car accident, and the other he was doing a box jump, and he fell over, and broke another arm while his other arm was broken.
Okay. Box jump is just jumping on a big wooden box?
Yeah.
Okay.
It like toppled over and broke his other arm.
Shit.
And
What
I
a
don't
lame way
know-
to break it on.
Yeah, and like I don't know if that hadn't happened, like if things would have unfolded differently, but just to be nice, and not that I wanted to, but like if it would give him an alternative, make things better for me, I was like, if you need me to fucking drive you around, like I can help you out with that. I don't give a shit either way, but yeah, I don't know. He was definitely in need of her assistance in that regard, but a lot of fucking back and forth, and like, when are you gonna leave? And I would be like, yeah, I'm gonna leave on this date, and then just never fucking move out. And the tournament was one of those instances, and that was a nice confrontation. Yeah, I don't think I told them that I was going to the tournament. I just they texted me while I was in Madison, so that was funny.
Because you told them you were going to move out that weekend and then left to go to the tournament and then came back at the end of the weekend. And like, why didn't you pack your
Yeah,
stuff?
I think it was even fucking on a Saturday, and then that night I went and stayed at Skyla's place.
You were dating Scott at the time?
Yeah, and then
2 years ago?
yeah,
You guys been dating 2 years?
it was.
Holy fuck, dude. My life is just flying by.
I know.
God damn
And
it.
then the next,
2 fucking
I just hung out with
years.
her all day, and then came back
God.
real late the next night. Yeah, that's what it was.
How's my painting coming?
Yeah, it's Skyla.
Just kidding.
Fucking liar.
That's all good.
How's her motorcycle ride coming along?
It's good, man.
Okay,
It's
good.
in the works. Getting rid of the snow first.
So that kind of went on, and then one weekend I was supposed to move out again, and I went down to Iowa, so I just was out of the state, and that was kind of the last straw for her. So she changed the locks, which is illegal in Minnesota, and
In the middle of winter.
no, this was in the summer. This was after the tournament. I think it was in the summer or the fall, and yeah, she changed the locks and texted me a bunch of shit. I think she usually would like text me from his phone or like tell him what to say, but it was definitely one thing in person to my face and then a totally another thing in private from him. Which again, I was very clear, like, hey.
He was saying shit. So in front of Kelly, he was saying shit to you that was like, "Fuck you, Kyle."
Yeah.
And like, he
I mean,
pulled you
he-
aside afterwards and be like, "It's okay, man. It's okay.
Yeah.
I love you."
100%. Yeah, like, don't ever leave me.
Dude, that's some like mind fuck. Shit.
Yeah,
That's
and-
horrible for somebody to say.
I don't think he was lying to me. I think his circumstances were just so fucked that, like, he was really, like, for the sake of his relationship, he wasn't going to make me leave or anything. He was just kind of letting things come to a head as they did naturally, because he was like, okay, I'm really relying on this person, and I don't need this other person necessarily. I like this person a lot better, and I want them to stay, but I can't really, you know, I just whatever happens, happens, you know?
Yeah.
Like, who's ever the most stubborn will win out. But they changed the locks, which is illegal, and I probably should have reported that happening, but he texted me and gave me a heads up. He's like, hey, when I get you back, when you get back, I need you to sign this form. I'm like, okay, so I get back, and it's like an eviction notice, right? And I'm
It's
like,
fuck that.
that doesn't look good at all. I don't really want to sign this. And he's like, yeah, I know it's real fucked up, but I really just need you to sign this for me so that she stops. And I'm like, okay, you promise nothing's going to happen? He's like, yeah, I promise, man, it's going to be fine. And I'm like, okay. Which, again, in real life, you should never sign an eviction notice that isn't warranted. But this whole situation was so fucking back-asswards that I was like, yeah, sure, we'll keep up the lie and the facade. Nothing's going to come of this. It'll be fine. Because you're my friend and you told me that, right? You as my friend.
You promised.
You said. You as the homeowner that this will be fine. So then, the set fourth date came along, and I still didn't move out. And that was the problem again, you know, obviously. And then within the next couple weeks, I was downstairs in my computer area where I usually hung out, and I just finished up with some calisthenics, and I was in my fucking underwear eating some dinner, and I heard the basement door open.
Like gun.
Down this, no, down the fuck, yeah, I heard a gunshot. Open FBI, open up. No.
FBI, open up.
They,
We saw the form.
the door at the top of the stairs opened. I was like, oh shit, so I ran over quick and closed my door, and then
Intruder.
I just figured, like, they would come downstairs sometimes and get shit, so I was like, yeah, that's fine, they'll just get whatever, and then, went back to eating, and then they knocked on my door, and they were like, Kyle? And I was like, oh, yeah, 1 second. And then I, like, was putting some fucking clothes on. Yeah, and they were like, you gonna come to the door? And I was like, yeah, sorry, I'm fucking naked and eating. I didn't say that, but... So I opened the door, and it's Kelly and her parents. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And they were, like, super
Both of her
serious.
parents?
Yeah, and they were like, Kyle, you've been served. And then they handed me an eviction notice from the fucking county or the sheriff or whoever. They presented me, like, whatever I signed before was like an eviction agreement, and this was an eviction notice. Like, hey, if you don't leave by this date, the sheriff is going to come remove you from the premises.
You didn't have the urge to be like, hey, like, this is what's actually happening? I
Mm.
would have been like, fuck that.
Well, I thought that, like, okay, this is her taking action behind his back, right? So he's gonna fix it, right?
I guess.
It didn't seem like something that he knew about. Again, better judgment, in most situations, you should probably say, no, fuck this, right? But I
Yeah.
was like, okay, we're keeping up the facade, it'll be fine, I'll talk to him. And then he was like, yeah, I had no idea that was happening, whatever. So then I was like, okay, yeah, you're gonna get it taken care of, right? He's like, yep. And then within a few weeks, I can't remember, it was like a couple months from then was when the eviction date was, so within the next couple weeks, a lawyer emails me and is like, hey, I'm representing these people about your eviction, like, do we need to go over the terms or whatever? And I was like, what the fuck? Started freaking out because he said he's gonna take care of it, right? And I'm like, okay, so I fucking text him and I'm like, what the hell, man? And he's like, oh shit, dude, I'm so fucking sorry. And this was around the time I think he broke his arms and shit was all fucked. And I was like, he was like, he got arrested for public intox or some shit. So he was like, during that whole time was real fucked up and was indisposed and like shit was going on. I think the day he got arrested for public intox was the day that she filed the eviction or whatever. Anyway, he's like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll take care of it. It's no problem. Then, like, a few days later, she emails again, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude? And he's like, I promise you I'm going to get this taken care of. And I'm like, okay, do I need to fucking respond to this lawyer? Like, what the fuck? She's saying some shit. What do I do? And he's like, nope, it's fine. It's fine. Emails me, like, 2 or 3 more times, and then it's like, oh, final notice. If you don't respond to discuss this and settle, you know, we're going to take this to court. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? And he's like, yeah, everything's going to be fine. Just keeps reassuring me, everything's going to be fine. So then it progresses on, and the court date's set for like a month out, and shit's going, just progressing on, and I keep talking to him about it. He's like, yep, it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. And so we get up to like the week before my hearing, and I fucking took off time work for this because one, it's total bullshit, right? There's no merit to what's happening because this is orchestrated by somebody whose name is not on the house, right? This can't hold up in a court of law. And I'm like, nah, we'll just play a game of fucking chicken here, right? Like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to be fucking scared out of this place by somebody who doesn't want me here, who's not the owner, and is not paying to live in this establishment. This other person trying to evict me from somebody else's house isn't paying to live there. Fucking bananas, dude. No, like, some of the most wonky shit I've ever seen in my life. And beyond that, when they initially bought the house, I wasn't going to go this much into it, but I'm pissed off again for talking about it. When they initially got the house, she didn't want to put any money down for it. And because of that, he didn't put her name on the mortgage, which rightfully pissed her off and probably created a lot of the bad situations that were happening initially and eventually led to him removing her from the house. Anyway, when she eventually crept back in about the same time that I moved in, she just had never fucking paid rent, ever. And one of the terms of the hearing, one of the claims from the defendants was that I didn't pay rent, which is utter bullshit because I handed him a check and I questioned him about this particular thing from the claim, and he's like, oh yeah, she took the check from me and hid it, so I couldn't cash it. And I'm like, that's so fucked up. She is intervening with my inability to pay rent to this person, and that's what you're claiming to the court is that I couldn't pay rent? And I was like, dude, that's so oh my god, so ridiculous.
Yeah,
and
fucking
so
wild.
I'm not just gonna fucking leave on principle because fuck you, right? Like I won't be scared into leaving, and this is so irrational. I just won't. I don't care. Like, and it was fucking terrifying because if you get evicted, that shit is on your record for 7 years, and it makes it real fucking hard to get housing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is real serious now. Like, this got fucking real quick. And I'm tempted, right, to just leave because that would be the easiest thing to do, right? For everybody, but I'm a man of principle and I'm real fucking pissed off, so I'm not gonna do it. So, a week before the hearing, and I walk in to the place that he's working, and I've got my phone on as a recording device, and I looked up that Minnesota is a one-party state, so only one person in a conversation needs to know the device is recording. That way, two people aren't recorded in secret. Like, you can record your own conversation with somebody. Other states like California, I think, are a two-party state. I don't know. There's states that are two-party states. Minnesota's a one-party state. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, I had audio evidence of him saying the things that had been said to me. And I just reaffirmed, you know, pretty much everything that I told you. I still got that recording if anybody ever wants to fucking hear it. I can prove it to you. Kelly, I'm real sorry again for all of this and everything that I put you through. No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
We're recording. But I recorded him, and he was just like, yeah, no, you don't need to leave. I've never wanted you to leave. Like, it's totally fine. We're going to figure this out. If it comes to it, I'll come to court with you, but it's not going to come to that. I'm going to figure this out. Everything's going to be fine. And I'm like, are you sure that I don't need to leave? You promised me that everything's going to be fine. And he's like, yep, it's going to be fine. And I'm like, okay. So it's the day before the hearing, and I think that day, or like within the few days in between, I had like drafted up a case for myself, essentially. Like, I didn't have any representation. I wasn't going to hire somebody. I'm just going to go to the fucking hearing and then hope that the judge understands, you know? Obviously, I signed this document, and that's kind of binding, right? So I'm kind of fucked, but hopefully with enough evidence, I can prove what's going on. So I screenshot probably like 75 texts, and I took screenshots of all the checks that I had written, indicating that I had never missed a payment. I had the audio recording, and I made CD copies, flash drive copies, and printouts of everything, so that way I had multiple instances of evidence, and I had 3 portfolios with all of those types of documentation in them. So I had one for the defense. Is it the defense?
The jurors?
No, the prosecution.
Prosecutors?
Am I the defense?
Prostitution.
Yeah, anyway. One for them, one for me, and then one for the judge. And it was the day before, and I had, if we take a step back, like a few weeks before that, I had texted his parents because on the plaintiff, that's what they are, and I'm the defense. The plaintiff, she had listed herself, which she wasn't a homeowner, but she also listed Zimmy and his dad as the plaintiffs, right? So she just essentially hijacked their status to become the plaintiff. And I never did respond to the lawyer because, like, I didn't know what the fuck to say. But I just...
Is the lawyer there?
Well, so we're taking a step back. So I texted his parents and was like, hey, because I was getting fucking nervous, right? Like, shit was still going on, and I was like, hey, just so you know, this happened. And they're like, yeah, we're not fucking okay with this. Like, this is bullshit. And granted, they're just going to try to let it sort itself out, right? Because it's not really their business, but they're like, yeah, no, this is not cool. Like, we don't have a problem with you. Like, they had given me money for Christmas and shit, which I'm not even related to them. They just would come over and we'd talk, and, you know, it was a nice conversation, and they liked me enough to give me fucking money for Christmas. And granted, they still had to, like, it was their son and the person that he was choosing to be in a relationship with, so they put on a good enough face, but were like, no, we don't like anything that's happening here. And so it's the day before the hearing, and his mom texts me, and she's like, hey, Kyle, how's it going? And I was like, well, you know, it's going okay, except that the hearing is tomorrow, and it's still not canceled, and I'm getting a little bit nervous. And she's like, oh, no, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I'm like, yeah, I did some research, and I found out that his dad is actually on the deed for the house, and I looked up, like, Scott County ownership shit, and found out that he was the owner of the property. And so I asked her, would there be any way that Stan would be willing to come tomorrow and, you know, come on my side with the deed to the house to prove that he's the owner? And with that, right, as the true owner of the house, I figured that would be enough evidence to make a ruling one way or another, even though I had signed an eviction agreement. So she was like, well, he's working right now, but I'll ask him. And then she texted later, and he's like, yeah, he'll come with you. And I was like, thank fucking God, because if I was there by myself, like it's real he said she said type of shit, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, at least he's gonna be there. And then later that night, Jimmy came down, is in the computer room, and he was like, yep, court case is off tomorrow. Like it had taken up to the day before for them to call it off, right? And I was like, okay, cool, but the court site says that the hearing is still tomorrow, like it's still active.
Yeah.
It hasn't been canceled. And he's like, okay, well, we're not going. And I'm like, that's fine, but I still have to go because if I don't show up, I lose by default. So can you cancel this? And he's like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, all right, so you're not coming? And he's like, no. And I'm like, cool. Because you said you would come if it came to that, right? And like we've talked since then, and he's apologized and I've accepted, but still like I'm a little salty about it. The fact that he let it get that far and then he didn't come with me.
Understandably so, man.
So I get there, I'm dressed nice, I got all my shit, I'm confident, and his dad shows up and I'm like, thank fucking God. Like honest to God, fucking stand up dude. Stan, God bless you. I still owe him a house painting. I told him to call me anytime he needs his house painted. I asked him how I could pay him back, and he's like, I just need help paint my house. And I'm like, you got it. You let me know, I'll fucking be there. So, I'll still make good on that. But, go in the fucking courthouse, and how that works is they've just got a fucking docket of cases to hear for that day, and you're all pooled together. So you show up at a given time, and then you sit, and you fucking wait until your name's called, so you don't, like, you don't know when you're gonna get called. Sat through fucking, like, 9 other cases, was there for like an hour, hour and a half, finally get called up. They, Zibby and Kelly, they didn't show up. The lawyer wasn't there, I didn't think. I kept looking and speculating. She didn't show up on their behalf, and so it's just me and Stan, who was claimed to be a plaintiff, but we're both on the defendant side of the courtroom. And she initially asked for my name and asked who was with me, and he stated his name and that he was the homeowner, and the judge was like, why are you on the defense? And he's like, well, you see, I don't have a problem with Kyle, and I've never had a problem with Kyle. I like him, and he can stay there for as long as he wants. And she was like, okay, so you don't want to evict him. And he's like, no, I've been falsely represented. And she's like, okay. So do you want this expunged from the record? And he's like, what? And then she explained that means it's permanently removed and it won't tarnish my record. And he's like, yeah. She's like, okay, case adjourned. It took 30 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
But months of torment on my soul.
Dude, what if Stan was in Kelly's pocket and he just went to the other
Oh
side?
my God. Can you imagine?
I want this boy gone!
Oh my God. I'd fucking cry forever, dude.
Oh, dude.
Plot twist, bitch. No,
That
he
is like
showed
the
up.
craziest situation.
I
ever.
know. So then I fucking won, and I was like, yeah, stay here as long as I want. And then I forget when that was. That was 2017. Yeah, 2017, and then probably like summer 2017, which was again over a year after the Rocket League incident. Continued to stay there, and then it was quiet for a while because, like, you know, I won. And then eventually, again, the questions started coming up. Okay, when are you gonna leave? And I was again, yeah, several times over. And then eventually, I decided that I was gonna move in with Skyla, but had to wait for her roommate to leave after college. And this was spring of 2018. Last year, yeah. And it was earlier in the year, and they were like, okay, when are you gonna leave? And I was like, I don't know, like May, June, July, August, sometime in there. Here's my circumstance, actually this time, which, why the fuck would you believe me when I've said so much shit over the years, right? And, like, when Skylar would come over, Kelly fucking hated it. Fucking hated it. Like, I would have girls over, you know, from time to time, and she fucking hated it for reasons that I won't say here on the podcast because it's too personal. But she fucking hated that there were other women in the house, even though they were mine.
Weird.
Because if she couldn't have fun in her own house, then nobody could. Anyway,
Yeah, dude, the amount of pent up sexual aggression, I can't even imagine.
I have a girlfriend, committed relationship that I've been in for a year, and still get shit for having her stay the night, right? She come hang out, but she doesn't want anybody fucking sleeping in the house. And one time, I think it was like the first time that Skyla slept over, Zimmy was like, yeah, totally fine. She can chill down here. I don't give a shit. Just make sure to move your car and don't get seen by Kelly type of shit. And then I snuck her out at like 4 or 5 in the morning, whenever Zimmy told me to, like make sure she's gone by this time. If you don't move the car. And I was like, okay, yeah. So we, there was like a little ding, ding, ding when the door would open. And Zimmy was pretty confident that Kelly wouldn't wake up, but she had her alarm set an hour earlier. Kelly heard her leave. I don't know, just fucking random occurrence. And Kelly heard her leave, and I didn't hear it, but Zimmy told me later that day, she said, that fucking whore stayed over! Which is so funny, because we were in a committed relationship. But, yeah, Skylar didn't appreciate that too much when I told her, and she didn't feel welcomed in the house anymore, for good reason. But yeah, so I was very upset with that, and was decided that it would just be best to go move in with my girlfriend and see how that would work out. But, you know, I had a loose time frame. And so time progressed on. Yeah, I think this was early 2018, and they eventually were like, okay, so you moved out in May, right? And I'm like, no. I said, like, potentially these months. And they were like, okay. And then they asked me again, like, May, right? A little bit later, and I was like, fuck, I'm not going through this again. So then I was like, hey, Soleil, you want to let me come crash at your place for a little bit? He just had a 1-bedroom apartment, but I was like, I'll sleep on the fucking couch, my couch, that I have in this house now. I don't give a shit. And that was in like March. Yeah, it was in March. So I stayed with him for like 3 or 4 months, and then ended up moving in with Skyla in June of 2018. And yeah, that's been going good, but it was a fucking roller coaster ride over there, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Wild fucking stories, for sure.
You never have the urge to just like move out when you say you were gonna move out of like the umpteenth times?
I mean, yeah, but I was like, I genuinely thought that the outcome was gonna be different, and I just needed to like, she was gonna get fed up, but she was extremely perseverant.
Yeah, you never like, this isn't worth it?
I mean, it was, like I said, it was a nice house.
Yeah.
It
is a super nice house.
Affordable rent, not too far from work, and like the potential for the outcome that I saw was very high, like how awesome that would have been. And so I was just, you know, holding on hope, probably to like some degree of ignorance and naivety. But
do you think things would have went down like that if he was just like a good boyfriend and like let her move in whenever?
Probably
it seems
not.
Like she was using you as like the reason for her failed relationship and
I mean,
not being able to move in. So you're like the devil in her world.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely caused her a lot of anguish.
Do you think she would have been like nice and like, hey Kyle?
I mean, I doubt
love
that
your
she wouldn't
girlfriend.
want anybody there still, but yeah, I don't know. Tough to say, man.
Yeah.
This is a fucking wild time in my life.
That's super wild. Roommates, man.
Yeah,
Crazy.
it was, for sure. And I like
that's like Trump and Cohen right now. Cohen.
Cohen.
You know, like you think you know a guy for 10 years, you got his back, you take care of him.
And then you flip
When
like
shit hits the
confetti.
fan. Yeah.
You
And
got my
he's
brother's back from Ed, and Eddie.
and then he's all, I don't know, he's one of many lawyers. Fuck this guy.
Yeah, I know, fuck that guy.
God.
You gonna turn on me, boy? Because here's the like, typically how those situations work out, right, is that you got some sort of protection. So as somebody's lawyer, right, you don't think that things are going to happen, and if they do, you think that the other person's going to get you out of trouble, right?
Mhm.
So you're like, yeah, it's gonna be fine, and then it doesn't happen that way, and then they're like, ooh, yeah, they distance themselves from you, and then you're like, well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna take you down with me. I'm
Yeah.
going down swinging, type of
Ooh.
shit, right? Like, it would be interesting to see how it would have played out had the like, because the psychology behind it is if your friend gets caught, as the person who's not caught, you're like, fuck, they got a lot of shit. Or they got a lot of my shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. And then can either go two ways, one of two ways, right? You can either place 100% faith in that person to not rat on you, and then they just do time and face the consequences. And it's tough to know, right? Because even your best of friends, like through thick and thin, people are shitty. And obviously, these people in particular are extra shitty. Like, they're not your everyday run-of-the-mill people with consciences or,
Yeah.
like, good ethics. These are not great people to begin with. But even when you've got good ethics, like, which you shouldn't, people with good ethics don't wind up in that situation anyway, right? Like, you're not gonna get fucking arrested for shit if you just make good decisions. But people with good ethics might have some integrity, right? And they're just like, you know what? We had a pact. Keep my lips shut. I'll take this one. But when you're dealing with shitty fucking people, you have no idea if you can trust them, right? Because you've employed these people to do things for you.
Yeah.
They're questionable. So,
Yeah.
like, if that person's willing to do that for me, it's like the age-old fallacy of if she's willing to cheat with you, she's willing to cheat on you type of
Yeah.
shit, right? So, fuck, man. Do you trust him or not? And, hey, you gotta save face. And you just shit on your friend a little bit. And you say, nah, that guy, And then that guy goes, I'm telling. Fuck you, Donnie.
Danny.
Danny? I don't know.
Small hands.
Yeah, and then, like, you made an interesting point earlier today, but you've got the people on Trump's side who are saying you can't trust this guy because he's lied to Congress before, right? Well, let's say he's not lying right now, which is a very good point.
I mean, he's going to jail because of that.
Yeah. The things that he tried to do to protect the person. And now, I mean, it's super easy to argue that it's just for a lighter sentence, right? Like, there's no way to know the truth, but I don't know, man. I didn't watch enough of the Despacito. I didn't listen to I've never listened to Despacito.
So, like, every single thing that, I mean, according to Kevin, at least, everything that happens in the Trump organization goes through Trump. Everything's significant, at least.
Sure.
And,
I mean, he's kind of a control and a power freak, so I can.
I mean, if Cohen is, like, taping all those conversations with all these clients, and he has boxes and boxes full of stuff, like, there's gotta be, I don't know, there's gotta be evidence of something. There's so much.
Yeah.
What the hell was I gonna say? I was gonna make a point for something else. What were you just saying?
I was saying about how you made a good point that he's lied to Congress before. And then what's the
Oh,
same?
yeah. I feel like Robert Mueller, like, they got all of his shit. Like, they caught him in the act of trying to get rid of his stuff, basically.
Yeah.
They have all of these probably super heavy details in a bunch of different situations. Because Mueller doesn't, like, at least the way that he took down the mob, it was, like, super as much data as we can get. Like, I don't think he would be able to lie at this point without Mueller being like, oh, here's some more years, you know?
Yeah.
And he wants to see his family, like, I don't know. I'm not saying he's truthful
he have a
or he's a
family?
good person. Yeah, he's a wife and a daughter.
Yeah, but then, like, that can also be argued easily the other way, like it's a double-edged sword. So, like, that gives him more reason to lie.
What do you mean?
If he can successfully complete the task of pinning somebody else for things, then he gets a reduced sentence, right?
It didn't even really seem like he was trying to do that in the
Okay.
hearing, though.
Yeah. Because that's traditionally how it works, is that if you can bring down a bigger fish, then you get a reduced sentence for...
Yeah, well, he's a bad guy, but like
He's a bad
watching
guy.
watching the
Very bad guy.
Watching the
Very bad
testimony,
man.
he's at least a good actor. He seemed pretty legit, and I'm sure he's just as truthful as like any single person in Congress or the House.
Yeah,
I don't feel like you can get there without lying to a bunch of people.
I feel like
We're gonna make this happen.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is that her name?
AOC.
I feel like she's done a pretty good job of having integrity thus far. I don't
It's
know
nice
how.
to think that.
You think she's taking bribes?
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, she's like poor as fuck, and she can barely afford her DC apartment because the salary hadn't come through yet.
She's a very like fresh face.
For sure.
I feel like it's a matter of time before eventually she's like, oh, this isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I mean,
it aligns with my policies.
it's probably fucking soul sucking for sure to like stand up in the face of adversity. I know how hard it is to be one man out of many doing something.
Yeah.
When it's very tempting to just slip in.
Well, a lot of that stuff you don't realize that you're doing something wrong. And then you're like, ooh, this seems unethical.
It becomes a little gray.
Or if it's like borderline unethical, you like mindfuck yourself into thinking it's actually okay, and it's not.
Yeah.
Like
That's called justification.
People who are like, oh yeah, it's cool if I have a girlfriend and talk to these girls as long as I don't like fuck them. Like it's probably not okay.
Yeah. I can't remember, I know we've talked about it before, but I can't remember if it's been on the podcast, about specifically with intimate conversation, and not like in a sexual way, but just like
Like this.
yeah, just like this, with nobody else around, just you and me.
And
no,
you?
like having a mentally stimulating relationship with somebody.
Is that cheating?
Yeah, well, that's the question, right? Is how does that compare to physical interaction versus like emotional interaction versus like next level mental connection?
I have a friend who I have like a super mentally stimulating relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
like my friend Jamie, and we've been friends forever. And I don't think she's any threat to any of my girlfriends. Like she's been there through a bunch of girlfriends. She's had a boyfriend the whole time.
I don't necessarily mean that like it will transition to physical or replace the physical, but
I just don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't feel like it's cheating. If there's no like flirtation going on, if it's strictly like the world is like weird, isn't it crazy that people think the world is flat? Why do you think they actually think that?
sure.
Like what we're having right now, like we're not trying to fuck each other.
I know, and it's different. Like being heterosexual people and
Yeah.
having that with people of the same sex is different, I think.
But
And-
Jamie's like a girl.
Yeah, and more so to my point is that like if you have a stronger connection with somebody that way than you do with your significant other, right? Like in an ideal state, you've got a stronger connection with that person than almost everybody else in every capacity, right? That's the like, and granted, the world doesn't work
That's
like
what
that.
you would like to have.
But
yeah.
it's right, and that's romanticized, and that's the point of monogamous relationships, right? Is that
Yeah.
it's only this person, and it's only like that. So, in a traditional sense, do you think it becomes a gray area for that? And I'm not not to personally attack you, just objectively speaking, because I've definitely gone back and forth, and I've had, intimate conversations. Again, not in a sexual manner, but just like really personal connections and conversations with people of the opposite sex.
I feel like that there's a line, where like if you're not being flirty at all and just like talking about actual ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and that line is there and it's there for like a super long time and there's no like crossing or even come close to crossing it, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You know? It's like having a best friend that's a girl growing up and still
Yeah.
being friends, you know? It's just meeting a best friend that you I don't think sex matters. Like obviously people are constantly trying to fuck people of the opposite sex, but like if like like you can feel if there's like some sort of sexual chemistry, and if you're trying to advance something.
Sure.
And unless you're fucking stupid, you can tell if they're trying to advance something.
Yeah.
If that's not happening, there's nothing wrong. If you're talking to them more than you're talking to your significant other, that's probably an issue.
Yeah.
Like if you're giving them more attention, even if you're not trying to fuck them, it's like you're not being a good partner, I feel like.
So there's a quantity aspect to it more so than the quality.
I don't think it's cheating
Yeah.
to talk to somebody about ideas, like big things.
Mhm.
I think you should talk to your significant other more than you talk to other people of the same sex.
Yeah.
Or people of opposite sex too, probably.
Sure. And I think there's something too about like physical things only go so far, right?
Yeah.
Eventually that will stop working, so all you'll have with the person is conversation.
Yeah.
And not that I have these viewpoints necessarily, but like you could totally flip things around, whereas like your relationship is based on the mental stimulation and that connection and the intimate conversation, and like that,
Definitely.
I think that's where open relationships stem from a lot, is that like you have something else that's uniquely and wholly yours, and then other things don't matter as much. It's,
Yeah,
I don't know.
for
It's just
sure.
interesting to like look at dynamics and how other relationships are, and what the like hinge, what the crux of that relationship is. And usually it's physical stuff, right? Because that's just traditionally how it's been.
Yeah.
But looking at relationships in a different light.
I get what you're saying. Like you fall in love with the personality. So like,
Right.
I guess you could argue that like you're at that like pre-falling in love stage, like you're testing the waters even without trying to, just by getting to know someone.
Mm-hmm. And like, if you take that, and again, flip it 180 degrees, if you only have stimulating conversation with that person, and you
Yeah.
never even like remotely test that line with anybody else, just as you would with a physical relationship,
Yeah.
right? You would never even like hold hands, like maybe you'd hug as friends, but you're never gonna kiss, anything like that. If you would treat conversation that way with other people,
Yeah.
to the point where you would never even like engage in thought-provoking conversation, because that is so uniquely yours, and it's so sacred between you two, right? I don't know. I think it's just interesting to think about that facet and aspect of life being exclusive.
I think that you're more likely to have those sort of conversations with your significant other just because you're around each other all the time. It's probably part of the reason why you are together in the first place.
Mm.
Like the same wavelength type of stuff, but there's a lot of interesting people in the world, and I think it would be a disservice to yourself to like just shut them out and not hear viewpoints, because that's how you gain knowledge.
For sure.
That's how you strengthen your own ideas, is being challenged by others that are smart. Like,
No,
it's best to find people that are smarter than you. Like, I would love to be proven wrong all the time.
I agree 100%. That's like, I think society runs better that way. I'm just,
It's probably healthier for your relationship to just, like, keep that level of conversation mostly for your partner, though.
yeah. No, and I would like, that's just a total like proposing of an idea.
Yeah, because I feel like what we're doing right now is intimate conversation.
For sure. We're super gay.
Yeah, I mean,
We're gonna leave our girlfriends for each other.
I just feel like this is important. This is, like, one of the best parts of my life, honestly. I don't even like podcasts. It's
Honestly,
not even about the podcast, just hanging out with my best friend,
Same.
talking about cool shit, so.
for sure.
This is better than,
This is better than
like,
sex.
fucking a lot of people.
Mm.
It's not even like,
And I honestly believe that the majority of relationships are based on the physical, like because of the initial attraction to that person, right? So much of it is aesthetic and superficial that, and by
Yeah.
no means all relationships, I don't know, 66%, at least half, I would venture to say, are prioritize the physical, right?
you
And
think
then
so?
just sacrificing the other things.
I would say that,
I don't think it's true necessarily for you or myself, but
I would
I'm
say,
above that.
I would say a lot of the relationships that have started, have been strictly almost every, not almost every, but I would say probably 60% of relationships that start are because they want to fuck them
For
based
sure.
on their physical appearance.
Yeah.
Probably 90% of Tinder. Like if you're trying to get laid, it's probably just physical. But if you're actually trying to start a relationship, it's still probably 60-40.
Mhm.
But the amount of relationships that last more than a year are probably like, it's more of a mental thing than a physical thing.
I
And
don't
if you're
know,
attracted to, like if you, like me personally, I'm attracted to, if I think somebody's super intelligent and provides valuable input to my life, like
Mhm.
mentally, I want to like fuck them so much more, you know?
Yeah.
I'm more sexually attracted to people because of their mind than I am based on their looks, because I feel like that's super shallow. Like obviously they can't look hideous to me personally, but like I don't know. I've always dated people for personality. No disservice to any of my girlfriends because they've all been beautiful in their own way, but like I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weird person.
Yeah.
But I feel like for long-term relationships and for like wanting to fuck somebody long-term, you like have to be attracted to their brain, because for a lot of people, at least in my experience, there's this like chase
Mhm.
where like, oh, that person is so hot, like I want to fuck them, and then like after you fuck them, it's like you did it, like you don't have to chase anymore, like it's like hunting.
Right.
So like I don't see that as sustainable. Wanting to fuck somebody and then fucking them and then hating their personality, unless you're like really fucking good and they don't have any like expectations of you.
There's a lot of superficial people out there, man. I don't know. I'm definitely a cynic in that sense, a pessimist. That I think people are more prone to stay in a relationship because of the physical attraction and sacrifice. I think there's a lot of fucking unhappy people, and the divorce rate is over 50%. I'm pretty sure. And I think a lot of contribution to that is people justifying to themselves, lying to themselves, and figuring a way to stay in the relationship because of superficial things and aesthetic things. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it for me it logically doesn't make sense, but I'm not able to like feel superficialness.
Sure.
I mean, I guess I can, but I don't know. Just you can only have sex so many times before you got to figure out something else to do. But there
Yeah.
have been relationships where I feel like what happens.
And again, I'm speaking generally, right? Just as overall.
Yeah, I feel like what happens is if you're in a relationship and you don't have that much to talk about, you just fuck all the time.
Yeah.
So that's probably what you're saying. I guess I've kind of been in relationships like that, where you didn't have like a super lot in common, and like you'd be like, here's this crazy thing in the world happening, and they'd be like, cool.
Yeah, let's talk about the weather.
Yeah, weather's up.
Yeah. I just,
Hey, how's it going? Not much, you?
right. I just feel like there's a lot of that going on. And I think I 100% believe that.
Superficial relationships?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't understand why people even start a relationship if it's superficial. Why don't they just fuck people? Honestly, though,
You got that courtship and
people who are married are more likely to get positions in management. Do you know that?
really?
Because just jobs in general, because they're like subliminally perceived by the person who would hire them as a safer option.
Yeah.
Because if they can like be in a committed relationship like that, then they're more likely to be loyal to the company and less likely to like uproot a family or something. There's a lot of factors, but it's pretty significant. You're more likely to get promotions if you're married because you're safer and more responsible.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I'd never fucking hire a married person.
I kind of just want to fucking wear a ring because like, yeah,
I'm
my
married.
wife is great.
My wife?
She's my other half. All of my weaknesses are filled in. Some generic shit like that.
Weaknesses.
Weaknesses.
There's a theater in Uptown, and you can see it from the roof patio of Cowboy Slims, and the letters on it said, my wife in your best Borat voice.
My wife.
My wife! And I fucking loved it. I loved it. It was great. It was a good night.
I love rooftops, man. Roofs like the
You ever had
flat
sex on a
rooftops.
rooftop?
No, unfortunately,
I've only ever had sex in a bed.
no, unfortunately, every roof I've been on has been like the traditional triangle.
It's kind of hard to fuck
Would not be
those.
optimal, but it would be really cool to have a place in this. I don't know. I just like have this dream of having a garage that's attached to my house with like a little fence on top of it and like a grill or something.
Yeah.
Preferably where I could, if it was on like a hill and I could look down the hill from that area. I don't know. That's if I was building a house, I would have a garage connected. On top of the garage would be flat, just like fucking a grill area or something, where you can just chill up there and look down, and it'd be like a hill downwards where you just have like this big view.
Hell yeah.
Like I have a vision of like Duluth where it like ends up and you can see the lake and shit from far away.
When you're having trouble coming, do you think about that?
Or if you're in a city, sometimes. Or if you're in a city and you can see people passing by and shit. It seems like a chill environment, you know, like lots of like stimulants that are.
Lots of fingers in your butt.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that kind of shit. Old school stuff.
Hell yeah.
Be fun. Houses are cool.
I don't know, man. Maybe someday.
I think about that too, man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But-
I appreciate a house 100%. Like having your own space and not having to worry about neighbors directly through your walls making noise. It's fucking awesome. But for
Yeah.
me, the maintenance does not outweigh the benefit. Currently. Someday maybe.
My grandpa always used to say that.
Throw money away if you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Like you should never rent. Like your money's not going anywhere. Like if you have a house, you're paying yourself because it pays off your house, and then when you sell it, like you get that back.
For sure.
You know?
I think it is 100%.
Even if you get a condo, which isn't an apartment.
Yeah. Although our boy Heezer, when we were out to dinner with him the other night after that episode he was on, he was saying that houses are a liability. Coming from a homeowner. A homeowner. A homeowner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends, man.
I agree with that statement, but I think that it's very like short-sighted. Like it's just a blanket statement. Oh shit! They sure are.
Is it?
Heezer, what
Hey,
the fuck is up?
what's
Heezer
up,
just
man?
commented on our live stream. Sorry for those of you listening. Why aren't you watching the live stream? Fuck yeah, I love you.
We forgot to tweet it out.
God damn it. God bless you.
Sweet boy.
Oh yeah, we forgot to tweet it. But
It's not too late. We'll start over.
that doesn't account, like saying that it's you're throwing your money away, right? Doesn't account for the on-site maintenance that's done for you. It doesn't account for like shoveling and lawn care, right? Like there's a lot of benefit that way. That depending on what your fucking like, how much your time is worth to you. I don't know. It's all subjective. And I agree with the sentiment, but I think that's a lot of time that's used by homeowners to justify their decision. And there's people that enjoy the shit out of that, right? Like they fucking, that's their jam.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
to
lot of work,
flip
man.
shit and fucking put love and sweat into it. But I don't give a fuck enough about anything to put that much effort into it.
Yeah. I feel yeah. I'm kind of like in the same boat where like I don't know if it necessarily makes sense in today's climate. I mean, live your life how you want, have as many kids as you want, get married, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really feel like it makes sense to have kids, personally, because like the world is kind of shitty and like the weather's gonna be shit when they're like 20.
Yeah, you're gonna
It's
make
already
that
getting
you're
shitty.
gonna make that fucker shovel,
No, I'm just saying like
so you don't have to as a homeowner.
I don't really see myself having like a
Free
massive.
slave labor.
I don't see myself having like a massive family by the time I'm 40, so it doesn't really make sense to get like a whole house to myself. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
like a small house. I have this fantasy of like super like medium to low budget home theater with like just a shitty projector and some lazy boys.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the projectors. It's
You got
just
that home
chill.
theater.
I know it's not. I mean, you can get them in 4K and stuff, but like I have a projector for my phone. It's just like so chill. Just like the light.
Then it's that like the
Yeah.
it takes you back. to
It
the
feels
theater
like the
when you're a
shitty
kid.
movie theaters I grew up in. So it'd be cool to have that and just like some normal speakers and watch fucking even if it's just like Netflix or Hulu or some shit.
Yeah.
YouTube would be chill,
Chill, make it chill.
relaxing.
No, I get it. Oh, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Maybe someday. If for me to do it now, I would also need enough money to hire somebody to do all the work for me, which isn't viable. And that's not smart use of your money. That's about as smart as renting.
You could spend more money and get a really nice house that requires minimal like maintenance, just like lawn mowing and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
But
could
like
do-
if, depending on how many rooms it has, you gotta like dust and shit.
You could get a townhome where they mow your lawn and shovel and shit.
Yeah, that's a good compromise.
And then
But,
you're
like,
still paying yourself equity. You can buy a condo where they do all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
that's
then it's just an
definitely
apartment.
the happy medium for me,
Yeah.
for sure.
Condos are
Definitely
pretty
a
chill.
smarter move.
Because then you're just living in an apartment and paying for it.
Yeah.
There you go. Hack.
There it is. Get fucked, bitch.
My
Lawyered.
my ex-girlfriend,
Oh, also shout out to Hayek one time for giving me a free friendly consult that was in no way professional, but he just told me what he would do as my friend. God bless Hayek
what a sweetheart.
for my living situation troubles.
My ex-girlfriend's grandpa started an electrician business in St. Paul in the 80s.
You're who?
My ex-girlfriend's grandfather.
That's too many.
Ex-girlfriend's grandfather. It's not that far.
Some bitch I know.
Someone in 1980-ish started. They bought a building to like start an electrician business.
I farted.
Yeah, they bought a building in St. Paul for like 80 grand, and there's 4 apartments on top of the building and then a shop underneath. And from 1980 to 2010, he purchased it for $80,000, and he said that it had paid for itself 10 times, and that was like 30 years just from the renters.
Damn.
After like the mortgage payments,
Smart.
800 grand in 30 years from like 4 apartments being rented out.
Yeah.
It's like basically having a free shop underneath.
Property ownership, man.
And then if you were to sell it now, it's probably worth like way more than 80 grand.
That's
because
how-
it's in St. Paul, like downtown.
I also know somebody who did that. His name was,
Trump.
yeah, that's exactly where I was going. But I was
Really?
trying to remember his dad's name. Is it Robert?
Ravi.
Or,
Was it Did it start with a J? Because Donald J.
Yeah.
Trump?
no.
Jimmy?
Fuck.
I don't know.
That's how Trump made all his money from his papa.
Yeah.
His dad made a good buildings.
Just squares that people live in with water and.
They're called
Beds.
boxes. Homeless people.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
I was watching a really interesting video about.
I love it.
I was reading The Shattering yesterday.
Yeah.
Volstad. No, the video is about homeless population in Skid Row.
It's good band.
Yeah, Skydrow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Hey.
The live stream's gonna go on from down there for now.
Hey, bud.
God fucking damn it. Should we just end it? Last time something fell down, we just killed it.
Got an hour and a half, dude. We're so cute.
Jesus Christ. Look at these handsome boys. But it was just talking about like the potential solutions and the current infrastructure that's in place for like government assistance. And there's a guy, they call him the mayor.
The mayor.
Get closer to my mouth.
So that's the plan.
They call him the mayor. He was a guy who was like a regular citizen, had enough money to have a house, and he intentionally became homeless to understand the problem better and to try to like fix it from the inside.
Yeah.
Was I talking about? Oh, boxes that people live in,
Yeah.
squares that people live in. Just talking about housing and how there's a women's home that has like a 98% recidivism.
For citizenship.
Recidivism.
Recidivism.
Recidivism rate, whatever the fuck it's called, and I can't speak to it very good because why would you do that on a podcast? It's uploaded by Philip DeFranco on YouTube. It was
Filthy Franco.
within the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it was a deep dive, so it was like a
10, 15-minute video just on this, but he was talking, the women's home essentially like taught them life skills and like, I forget what the whole scheme was as far as like not charging them, but they took super good care of these homeless people to like give them life skills, and they had an extremely high success rate, but it was only for women, which isn't a bad thing, but they just needed to do that for other, whatever the fuck was going on there. It was a real good formula to make people not homeless anymore. So let's make that happen.
Yeah.
We're playing Ring Around the Mic Stand. If you want to see it for yourself, go on over to youtube.com/
Dude, it's so easy to be homeless.
Pondering Aimlessly.
It's so easy to be homeless too, man.
Some people do it willingly. 100%. You know why? There's a guy that is in the video talking about it. They don't want the responsibilities of fucking paying for things or maintaining things.
Yeah,
They just want to go fucking live out in the middle of nowhere.
I feel you.
We're in the middle of the city. That's not going to stand up. We should stop it. We're done.
You want to start the podcast?
It's probably get stopped and play.
You bet. It was good, boys and girls.
This was a nice, fun podcast.
Yeah.
I got to talk about my interesting journey.
Hell yeah. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with you guys. It means a lot. Hope you had a good time. You enjoy your commute to work.
Yeah, or when you're banging your girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. I like to listen to podcasts. I do that.
Here's the deal. We try to make it seem like you're just hanging out with your friends. And if you don't feel like that, because you're not our friends in real life, you can be. Go on over to MySpace and look up Pondering Aimlessly.
Yeah.
And then you can do real life meetups with us.
Yeah.
No, but seriously. This is for posterity's sake. Oh, Hammy just flipped his hat.
You know what that means.
Go ahead and answer down in the comments below. We'll see you next time.
You're like, call